I didn't even think about that. Yeah, like how does that work? Because they forgot they forgot Peter Parker, but they still like realize, yo, we used to fuck with Spider-Man though. We have a connection to Spider-Man. We just don't know how, and that's maybe why they're trying to figure out who he is in the trail in the beginning in the earlier the trailer. So.
On my face when we run in your place and we need every combination to this.
What's going on? So today we got a couple days ago, 2 days ago, the Brand New Day trailer came out, and I watched it, I recorded, I reacted, and I posted it, and I liked what I saw, but I've been waiting on new rock stars to post their breakdown, and 3 hours ago, they dropped their breakdown. It's 48 minutes. Let's get into it. No time to spare. Oh, hold on. Before I say that, make sure you like and subscribe. See me, fuck with me. Show me some love. Hit an ace on everything. IG, TikTok. I got like 4 TikToks, but it's all good though. But now let's get into it, though. Let's see what Eric Voss has to say. Go
back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a frame-by-frame breakdown of every detail and Easter egg and rogue cameo you missed in the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day, a movie coming July 31st, 2026, the 4th Tom Holland Spider-Man
movie. It comes out July.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
We eating good.
So many details in this trailer just by taking a full day to go through it super slowly again and again and give myself time to collect all my thoughts on how it all makes sense. So in this video, I'm going to go through this trailer shot by shot to explain all the stuff that you might have missed. The shirt I'm wearing is this Who's Who design, inspired by the 3 big Marvel heroes who will be oddly matched up in this movie, including a very sneaky, invisible Daredevil exclusively at our merch store, Nerd Riot. The trailer opens with this stunning shot of Peter Parker sitting on the underside of a steel construction beam with his feet pointed upward toward the sky and the cityscape of New York City behind him. It's a classic trippy Spider-Man pose that we saw in an early scene with Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy in the animated Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's just a visually gorgeous way of showing Spider-Man's emotional disassociation from a society that doesn't really know him or understand him, using his adhesive bonding to surfaces and what must require attentive concentration just to feel like you're dangling over an abyss that would take you into the stratosphere, while you force the city you feel duty-bound to protect to stay behind you. Yet those skyscrapers are kind of making the shape of teeth clenching down on you. While the first 3 Tom Holland Spider-Man movies were directed by John Watts, this 4th one is being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi for Marvel Studios. Before taking on this project, he was going to direct a 5th Avengers movie when it was still going to be the Kang.
Bro, since the guy that directed Shang-Chi is going to be directing this movie, I know the hand are going to be moving crazy. The hand are going to be moving like, bro, I'm already knowing. The hand are going to be crazy. And, Spider-Man's going to have his crazy fight scenes with the hand because the hand, are assassin ninjas. So they hopefully he has them moving right. He should,
this director,
though.
known for dazzling visuals, strong emotional beats, and great stunt directing, is really proving he understands the assignment. For Peter to be this high up, taller than most of the tallest skyscrapers we can see in the shot, he must be on some new, even taller high-rise that's in the process of being constructed. Could this be the new extensions of the former Avengers Tower that are now part of Val's Watchtower, as we saw it in Thunderbolts? Could it be an even newer skyscraper like Oscorp Tower? Wherever this is, this lonely place is where Peter goes to watch his Instagram reel from Ned, who's posting with MJ about their first day at MIT. In the previous film, 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter Parker, after having been publicly outed as Spider-Man in a posthumous video by Mysterio, faced legal consequences of MIT. World forget he was half a dozen or Fire and Andrew Garfield versus brothers. Version riffs forgot one, and they worked, and Peter moved into a new years that he met after No Way Home came on the Logic film. Essentially, the world remembers that a Spider-Man exists, as in a masked red and blue suited spider-themed New York City-based superhero associated with the Avengers, but they do not remember the identity of the person under that mask, or any specific memories involved with his outing. Any memories Ned and MJ had of Peter as a friend, gone. They instead just remember new memories that happened without him, which sadly probably wasn't too much of a warp because Peter often had to miss out on experiences with them by being Spider-Man. Any physical records of Peter's existence, birth certificate, social security number, passport, academic records, medical records, photos, texts, any digital records connected to Peter Parker wiped from existence. And we're pretty sure this spell affected everyone on Earth in the MCU and anyone off-world who would know who Peter is, like Carol Danvers. So long as it's all within this universe, no word yet on whether Doctor Strange's spell affected people who know Peter in other universes, like the multiverse men Peter interacted with in No Way Home after they went back to their home universes. Some questions remained as to whether the memory wipe spell affected buried subconscious dual identities like that of the Hulk. It's a valid question because Bruce Banner is in this movie.
I heard that because would the Hulk? I mean, Professor Hulk. Well, was he Professor Hulk? We don't really know if he was Professor Hulk or not when this spell happened. You feel me? And like we also don't really know how that would work if he turned back into Savage Hulk. You feel me? But
in this video, we don't know if the memory wipe spell hit Bruce when he was in his Smart Hulk form,
yeah, I
or
was just
sometime
saying that.
after he reverted to his human form temporarily after starting to wear that inhibitor bracelet that he had in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene in the beginning of She-Hulk before it broke in the car crash that he continues to wear in this trailer. Smart Hulk does have the same mind and memories as the human Bruce Banner, but does Green Savage Hulk remember Peter? That's a pretty hard case to make because Peter didn't join the Avengers until Civil War, and at that point, Hulk/Bruce was off-world on Sakaar. Thor Ragnarok confirmed that when Hulk was at the wheel, Bruce Banner suffered a complete memory blackout, and likely vice versa, right? So when Bruce returned to Earth in Infinity War, he actually didn't interact at all with Spider-Man when he helped save Tony in the Central Park fight. Savage Hulk and Peter never really hung out. It was only after that point, back at Avengers Compound, when Hulk learned that there was an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man, and probably got briefed on the kid. And then years later, of course, Smart Hulk and Peter were both at Tony Stark's funeral. So even if Savage Hulk were to ever come back, I don't know if it would be possible for him to ever have any stored memory that Spider-Man equals Peter Parker, regardless of Doctor Strange's spell. But there is some precedent in the comics that after a memory wipe spell that makes everyone forget that Peter is Spider-Man, Hulk tells Peter that Hulk still remembers. Hulk is also the only one who remembers Sentry after a spell erased Sentry from memory. But based on Peter's GED prep book, him now having a social media account where he's clearly Instagram friends with Ned to be able to see this reel like this, Peter must have taken some steps to reestablish.
it's kind of weird. Like since he got erased, how does he like function as a person? Because like, let's say his social security number is erased. He's kind of cooked. Like you can't really do anything without your social security or your birth certificate. Like he's kind of fucked. And unless he's just like, unless he tries to become a citizen again, but like, it's like, how is he going to explain, oh yeah, I was illegal like that? But you know, some people don't fuck with that. And I'm not going to say who, the cold people. Let me just say that.
Some personnel records and a digital footprint. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to lease an apartment or hold a job to be able to
That's
afford
also
a smartphone.
true.
And not just any smartphone, folks. This is a Galaxy Z Flip 7 that runs you about $1,099.
Damn.
Ned says in the reel that this
He's
is
broke
he
though,
and
so I
MJ's
don't know how he
first day at MIT.
probably
So
stole.
according to the official synopsis, 4 years have passed since the events of No Way Home, and Peter is now an adult living entirely alone, having voluntarily erased himself from the lives and memories of those he loves. Crime fighting in a New York that no longer knows his name, he's devoted himself entirely to protecting his city, a full-time Spider-Man. But
Yeah, how's that their first day if he's been,
sparks a surprising physical evolution that threatens his existence, even as a strange new pattern of crimes gives rise to one of the most powerful threats he has ever faced. So I think what we're seeing here is one scene that takes place earlier, like 6 months after the events of No Way Home, and the rest of the movie is going to show Peter 4 years later after MJ and Ned have completed their undergrad degrees. Notice that MJ is hesitant to pretend like she's the happiest she's ever been in her entire life, while being unenthusiastic is very.
Bro, there's gotta be like some sort of like gaps in their memory where they like just can't explain, because like obviously not everybody in the world really cared about Peter Parker. Like him being Spider-Man or him not being Spider-Man is very insignificant to a lot of people on Earth. But like to Ned and MJ, like they gotta, you feel me? There gotta be little gaps in their head that it's like, yo, I'm remembering somebody, but I'm not remembering something. And maybe we'll see that.
A sign that deep down, MJ knows that she used to be truly happier, and that even going to MIT isn't enough to fill that mysterious hole in her heart. At least you know that's how Peter's reading this. That second to last scene in No Way Home featured Zendaya giving off the slightest expression to indicate some deja vu that the official screenplay called, quote, a lingering sense of recognition. That plus MJ continues to wear the broken Black Dahlia necklace that Peter got for her in Spider-Man Far From Home in Venice, a necklace that she continues to wear in this film. So I'm telling you guys, we all learned this in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Love surpasses memory. MJ's gonna meet Peter in Montauk. Her heart will go on, and I gotta stop. But you can see that Peter is wearing his new suit here with the new silver web shooters on the wrists. Pay close attention to those web shooters throughout this trailer because Peter doesn't always need them to shoot webs. This is the suit Peter used a sewing machine to craft at the end of No Way Home, and the screenplay for that film explicitly describes it as, quote, a blue and red suit, new for him, but reminiscent of the suits he's seen before. Yes, the screenwriters deliberately stated that Peter designed this suit to look like Toby and Andrew's suits. You can really see that with the raised webbing on the red fabric, something we haven't really seen since the Sam Raimi Toby era, and a specific shade of blue recalling the Mark Webb Andrew Garfield era, and the way that suit fits Tom Holland with a certain looseness that allows the air to ripple through it just results in a natural fit that really made Andrew Garfield's suit one of the best looking ever on film. This suit has a new chest logo to represent this new Brand New Day era. Gone is the squat techie spider from the Home trilogy representing Peter's hardwired collab with Tony Stark. Now we have this long-limbed spider with thick clawed legs that stretch far up and down his chest. The title of Brand New Day, by the way, refers to a specific run of Spider-Man comics that began in 2008 to 2009 following the One More Day storyline in which Mephisto granted Peter's wish that the world would forget that Peter is Spider-Man, including erasing his relationship with MJ, and now establishes Peter as a classic, anonymous, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in a somewhat restored era of street-level conflicts with like drug dealers and gangs and other similar criminals. I don't expect this movie to be an exact adaptation of that era from the comics, but I do think thematically that kind of blank slate is what they're going for in this movie. But not entirely. This is not the first of a new trilogy, it is the fourth of a series. I'll talk about that more as we go. Now, the fact that Tom Holland manages to pull down what's clearly a practical mask over his face and have the eyepieces perfectly aligned with a perfect silhouette and no creases and wrinkles, guys, if you've ever worn a Spider-Man mask, that is not easy to pull off in one gesture.
Bro, that's his power. He has
Peter's
that. That's a
dive
skill.
like this reminds us of the shot from Thunderbolts that both opened the trailer and the film itself of Yelena Belova on the second tallest building in the world, performing a troubling jump as she monologued about how she was not in the best headspace, which worried us because at first we didn't really know if she had a parachute. I think this shot of Peter is meant to convey a similar type of feeling, but also Peter got this directional dive by first sitting on the underside of a construction beam with his feet pointing upward. So for him, the sky was the abyss that he pondered falling into, and the city is the reality that he's now allowing gravity to pull him back into. In this dive, you can really see the fabric of Peter's suit rippling, a big difference from Tom Holland and Peter's suits in the past. It recalls the rippling fabric of Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker's suit and the opening dive of 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I am going to bring up a lot of the echoes among the three Peters throughout this video, and I'm going to explain how it might not just be the vibes or member berries, but rather intentional parallels that show how this Peter is evolving after his body learned some adaptations from two variants from other universes. Yeah, that surprising physical evolution that threatens his existence and the official synopsis, I'm going to explain exactly what that means in this video. But before we move on, there's this close-up of Peter's eye from this interesting angle underneath his mask. Seeing his eye and nose and cheek in profile, the white shape to the lower right with the black border is the eyepiece of Peter's mask. It's kind of an odd shot because it's physically impossible. You would never be able to fit a camera in such a small place.
So much bigger
sort of a side view
than it really would be.
Display, like the times we've seen Tony Stark's faces from inside their helmets with the glowing interfaces around them. But they really want us to focus on Peter's eye. Obviously, a lot of things happen to Peter Parker's eyes in this trailer, and I think they want this to be a contrast to the shot that we get at the end of the trailer. And here, something does seem to be glowing orange reflected in Peter's iris for a frame or two. Maybe an explosion or a flashing siren light that he's seen as he dives downward toward whatever this crime scene is. Or could it be another presence that's connecting with Peter in this exact moment? Could it be another loner experiencing a surprising physical evolution that threatens their existence? Keep watching this video to find out. The letter Peter reads in this section is a rewritten version of the letter that Peter wrote for MJ in the final minutes of Spider-Man No Way Home that he decided at the last second not to give her. That letter we were able to see the first few sentences of written on graph paper in the credit sequence of that movie. It read, "Dear MJ, you don't know me, so this is gonna sound pretty crazy, but the truth is," and then he crossed that out, but then said, "But..."
Yo, if someone gave you a note and was like, yo, you're not gonna remember, but I'm your man, I'm your girl, we're in love, your brain, you lost your memory, da da da. Would you fuck with them? Would you hear them out? Now I'm gonna be real. If they look good, I might have to hear them out. I might have to hear them out if they look good. I can't. But you know, I don't know. I definitely feel like they're crazy, or I'd be like, yo, am I crazy? Like, but again, it really matters. Like, they gotta say something that makes me believe.
Actually, you do know me, actually. Oof, a double use of the word actually in one sentence, clearly a STEM major. But this revised letter, I zoomed and enhanced on this folded piece of paper, and here's the full heartbreaking text. Hi, my name is Peter Parker, and you don't remember me, but I have something to tell you that's going to sound crazy. But it's the truth, and I know you're going to believe me because you're very good at telling when I'm lying. We used to know each other. We were together, but something bad was going to happen to the world, and the only way to stop it was to make everyone forget me, including you, because I'm not just Peter Parker, I'm Spider-Man, and sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. Maybe I'll never read this to you. Maybe I'm just writing this for me.
That's a tough
Maybe
thing
that's
about
my
being Spider-Man,
responsibility,
bro.
to live alone with the truth. But the truth is, I love you, and I hope deep down something inside you remembers you love me too.
Damn.
Maybe this is Larry
That's sad.
planning on slipping
That's sad as
MJ
hell.
now that he's apparently crashing our housewarming party, or really just something he's writing for his own therapeutic benefit. But he is bringing some faded-looking flowers that he picked up from this bodega. We do later see MJ vase those crappy-looking flowers, so maybe deep down she does love him. Peter here sees Ned walking in, completely oblivious to him. I appreciate the sign of no credit given behind Peter's head. He truly is given no credit for the sacrifice he made to help get MJ and Ned into his dream school of MIT. Let's also not forget that No Way Home revealed that Ned is a freaking sorcerer, folks. He has some innate wizard powers that allowed him to open a sling ring without any of the practice or training that Stephen Strange had to go through. Peter washes his suit in a washing machine in his building. We're reminded of
Which
Tobey
that
Maguire,
shit was
Peter Parker,
definitely
and
just
Spider-Man
like
2 in the laundromat, and
plot,
all of his
bro. I don't
clothes
know
ended
how
up
he
getting
did that shit.
stained. But I don't see a dryer here. Maybe this building just expects all the tenants to air dry their clothes. But I
That
guess if Peter
sucks.
were to try drying his suit, it would shrink or stain a lot of the other clothes. But also remember, the last time we saw Michael Mando Scorpion in the MCU, he threatened to do this to Peter.
You know, take a picture, slice his throat, put his head in a dryer.
Maybe Peter's just afraid of dryers. Now, to be clear, this is not an in-unit washer. No way any apartment that Peter Parker would rent would have one, even if he does have a very expensive smartphone. This is a shared laundry machine in its building. There are some rumors that Peter is going to meet some blonde-haired neighbor in his laundry room in this movie that could be
Gwen?
Karen Shipka as Gwen Stacy, but I don't know if I buy those rumors.
fuck is that?
Notice how bruised Peter's
Yeah,
leg
he's
is here.
fucked up.
Youch! He's probably washing some blood out of his suit after a nasty fight. Meanwhile, MJ and Ned watch on TV as Spider-Man is given a key to the city. So this movie is confirmed to take place after the events of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. And there is a potential spoiler for Daredevil Born Again Season 2 in this
That
shot.
Fisk
I would
isn't
not
the
know.
mayor?
I've not seen any episode of that season
Yeah,
yet.
that
but in
lady's
case
the
it
mayor.
is, and you don't want to know, you can skip to this time. Okay, the person handing him that key, I'm pretty sure
I mean,
is
that shit
Sheila
hasn't been
Rivera,
out, bro.
played by actress Sabrina Guevara. She was the chief political advisor to Mayor Wilson Fisk in Season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. She is going to return in Season 2 starting next week. She's the one who had the initial misgivings about Fisk's approach, but then when Police Commissioner Gallo tried to work with
Bro,
Sheila
the
to oust
Gallo
Fisk once
death
the
was
mayor
so
declared
crazy
curfew and
looking,
martial
bro.
law, Sheila recorded Gallo, snitched, and got Gallo killed by Fisk in the most violent execution
Bro,
Marvel
it's the
Studios has ever
craziest
shown
thing,
in a Disney
bro.
Plus show. Now, some
way
were
he
saying
just-
this is not Sabrina
bro, that was
Guevara, but
crazy.
rather Liza Colon-Zayas, aka Tina from The Bear, who will definitely be in the cast of this film, but this isn't her. Set photos of her character show that she has shorter hair in this film. This is definitely Sheila from
Trench
Daredevil
coat.
Born Again. Also, I could be wrong, but is that Ayelet Zurer as a gray-haired Vanessa Fisk to the right of Spider-Man in this ceremony? It's
I
all
don't know,
very
man.
odd, because Fisk hates masked vigilantes of all types, and even called out Spider-Man in his inaugural address.
We don't need a gun-toting vigilante who wears a skull on his chest, or a man who dresses in a spider outfit.
So for his advisor,
You mean my
Sheila,
goat?
to be
Don't
handing
disrespect my
Spider-Man
goat,
the key
bro.
to the city, it must mean that Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is going to feature some
Some
status
ass into
quo
Fisk,
shift,
bro.
in which Fisk is either no longer mayor, hey, maybe scarily in an even higher office now, and Sheila is either the interim mayor, or maybe Vanessa is, or maybe both of them are just forced into this weird position of having to make peace with certain masked heroes. I don't know. But MJ and Ned are watching this broadcast because, as we'll see later in this trailer, these natural eggheads are trying to piece together who Spider-Man is. Peter runs across a rooftop, pulling down his mask and leaping into action, leading to what might be a different scene where a heavily armored tank unloads some high caliber artillery at him and is not at all concerned over how this is affecting nearby office buildings. It's not really easy to see here, but Peter's swinging as he chases this tank down is all practical swinging. Onlooker set videos from the Glasgow
Oh,
area
shit.
showed that Destin Daniel Cretton's crew rigged up an impressive mobile
Bro, that's so
rigging
cool,
that
bro. I wish
allowed
I
the
could do
stunt
that,
performer
bro.
to physically swing
Like,
from side to side while pursuing the tank down the street.
that's cool
There
as
was some
fuck.
discourse about how the previous director
Shoulda
said that
been me.
practical swinging for
Shoulda been
Spider-Man
me
would be
swinging.
impossible, which I guess was why he used so much green screen and CGI. But really, for No Way Home, it was more of a COVID-era necessity. Cretton's team clearly figured it out, and I'm so excited to see it. I think this movie's going to be a strong contender against the Odyssey and Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday for the very first stunt performer Oscar. Now, what's craziest about this tank firing on Peter is, based on the later shot, the person driving it in this moment seems to be
It's an
this
old
random
lady.
older woman who was being possessed by
The
someone or
chameleon?
something. I feel bad that this woman was being forced fire on all those office buildings. I also love how many of Cretton's shots are aimed all the way down the street, like when Peter smacks the cars and when Peter crashes through Frank's windshield or when Peter tells Frank to go home. There's clearly a dimension to these shots that they're really setting this on the wet streets of Glasgow and not on a backlot with an overhang tarp cover where the street ends in a corner to block your eye line. Like, I don't mind seeing that in a TV series, but on a $200 million movie, it can feel a little too economical. Peter gets sideswiped by the battle van driven by Punisher Frank Castle. John Bernthal returns in this movie after last appearing in Daredevil Born Again Season 1 when he helped Matt Murdock and Karen Page fight Kingpin's anti-vigilante
Bro, he
task
got
force.
captured. He got put in the
caught cage
basement,
in one of
bro.
Fisk's kennels and then broke out in the season's post-credit scene. Punisher may also appear in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, but we don't yet know. He will appear in an R-rated Marvel one-shot on Disney Plus at some point this year. The comedic timing of this shot recalls a similar shot.
Not gonna lie, that one shot being R-rated, I need that. I need to see Frank going crazy.
Where Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man gets sideswiped by an NYPD truck in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's also a similar shot of Tom Holland's Peter Parker in Berlin getting sideswiped.
I wonder how much getting hit by a car like really hurts, bro. Like, I feel like there's a point of pain where it just doesn't hurt. It's just like, golly. It's just like, I don't want to, like, it just feels like nothing at some
By a
point.
bullet train. All of these are really an homage to the iconic Buster Keaton stunt of how he just kind of exits quickly out of frame. But a really fun detail that's easy to miss here, when Peter gets swiped by the van, after that van clears the shot, you can see that Peter's head was positioned directly in front of a no loitering sign. Shouldn't have loitered, Peter. But why didn't Peter's spidey sense detect the approaching battle van? Does Frank drive that fast? Did the voice of Frank's ghost son screaming, "Get him, Daddy!" distract Peter? Or, as Peter's body is changing, is there just something off about his spidey sense, aka his arachno frequency? Or does Frank's threat have a psychic shielding from Sadie Sink's character? You'll see on Frank's dashboard there are some pliers, a walkie, a police scanner, and a bunch of unpaid parking tickets. No way he's ever gonna pay those. His windshield has little windows through which he can fire his guns at people he's driving directly toward. Incredible. And apparently Spider-Man and Frank know each other. Presumably they met sometime over the past 4 years being vigilantes in New York City. I don't need to know how they met. I just kind of love a lived-in Marvel world where every hero in New York kind of knows each other already. The fact that Frank is chasing the tank, Frank the Tank, at odds with Peter, who's trying to stop it, it might tell us that Frank is helping Sadie Sink's character use this tank to escape from where she is. And it seems like Peter has in the past already tried to muzzle Frank's shotguns with his webbing, because now Frank knows this is going to be non-lethal as he just pulls a trigger and turns Peter's own webbing into like an indestructible beanbag that would send him flying. But now Peter uses the lamppost to slingshot him back through Frank's windshield, taking Frank with him, and then censors Frank's profanity that he loves to hit us with on streaming shows and muzzles him with a "go home." But Frank doesn't have a home, Peter. They took everything from him. He does seem to be sharing wherever he was crashing in Daredevil Born in Season 1 with Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones to form their hideout in Season 2, though. Peter attends a party where MJ and Ned are in attendance and notices MJ put in a vase of flowers that he got for her at the bodega. But now Peter sees this other guy flirting with her. This dude is played by Imanis Fondi, who played the live.
It better not be. Oh, he was Ezra? He played Ezra? All right. It better not. He better not be Paul, though. I swear, if he's Paul, he better not be Paul. He better be Harry Osborn. That's all I'm saying.
Bridger in the Star Wars Ahsoka series. His eyes are quite dreamy. But could Imanis Fondi be playing the Harry Osborn of the MCU?
I
or
swear,
could he
I
be the
hope.
Paul Raven?
No!
You know, the one from 2022 who time dilated with MJ. Hate that guy. And to keep the rumor alive, I am obligated to point out this blonde-haired partygoer
Could be
who
one.
presumably lives in this apartment building. Doesn't look like Kieran Shipka to me, but we are all on Spider-Gwen watch. All right, Peter collapses in his apartment, sweaty and worse for wear. The way the camera follows him as he tips over reminds me of Sam Raimi's shot of Tobey Maguire Peter Parker collapsing in his bedroom after being bitten by the spider on the field trip in the first 2002 film. Indeed, what is happening to Peter here? Well, the editing of this segment suggests that after passing out inside, Peter
little
wakes up
bit
sometime
of
later outside,
arachnid,
mostly naked in a web cocoon. The webbing tears away and Peter tries to thwip his web
puberty,
shooters, but he's not wearing mechanical web
Yeah.
shooters, at least not here. Yet we still hear a kind of misfire thwip sound effect. Did Peter in this moment know he wasn't wearing web shooters? The earlier shot of him reading the letter suggested that he often wears web shooters even when he's not suited up, because you never know when you'll need them. But when Peter falls here, he does desperately point his empty wrist upward, and we hear another thwip sound effect, and his body jerks as if something is hoisting him up. But when I went through the shot frame by frame, you do not see any webbing coming out of his wrist. Maybe they just didn't add in the CGI of it yet. Or
See, when I originally watched the trailer and he fell, I thought someone grabbed him, like someone whipped him and grabbed him and caught him. I didn't think he shot it because just the way he fell, it didn't look like he shot it. But maybe again, maybe it's just a CGI wasn't
the thwip
completed
sound
or something.
that we hear in this clip is a misdirect, and someone else is actually catching Peter here.
That's
like
what I
Pusher,
thought.
Sadie Sink's character, or Matt Murdock. Either way, the implication of all of this is that
But who
Peter
knows?
in this movie will start to produce organic webbing. Yes, the same kind of organic webbing from the body that Tobey Maguire Peter Parker produced in the Sam Raimi era. So traditionally in the comics, of course, Peter Parker's webs do not come from his body, they are mechanical. But the whole idea of organic webbing actually came from James Cameron, who in the 1990s wrote a 45-page scriptment, kind of like an expanded treatment that was almost like a script, for a Spider-Man movie that would have starred Leonardo DiCaprio and included some elements from the amazing fantasy tradition. But when James Cameron left the project and Columbia Pictures hired David Koepp to write the script, Koepp kept many of the elements from James Cameron's version, including the organic webbing. Many fans who didn't grow up reading Spider-Man comics just assumed that this is how it always was, because to them it was a little inconsistent that Spider-Man would have all these other abilities associated with spiders, but
no
not
webbing.
organic webbing. The whole idea of
I mean, it
organic
should
webbing
come
was
out his butt,
introduced
bro.
in
We already
meta
know.
contexts among the three Peters in No Way Home on the scaffolding, and shortly after by America Chavez in Multiverse of Madness, who asked Doctor Strange and Wong if Spider-Man shot webs out of his butt. I'm gonna assume the least gross option here and say that Peter's new organic webbing in this movie comes out of his wrists. It's March, and if you made some big swings with New Year,
Yeah, I'm too good, bro, Eric. You can't get me with this ad, bro. I ain't gonna lie. You can't get me.
This movie is Peter's off your first month of therapy. So what is happening to Peter in this movie? I think this movie
Spider
is saying
puberty,
that Peter's
bro.
evolution is an adaptation that's
Oh,
being
wow.
triggered by his new environmental conditions. This movie is clearly not simply moving on and forgetting the events of No Way Home, it's building on them. For the first time, Peter's anomalistic physiology was exposed to variants with different survival traits. Peter connected to his two brothers via the arachnofrequency, the magical spidey sense that links all Spider-Man variants together in the web of life and destiny. Maybe this cosmic web knows that the incursions of Doomsday and Secret Wars are coming and triggered a kind of mutation in Peter's body to adopt some of the physiological
Make him
traits of
stronger.
the other Peters whose biorhythms he's tethered to. Traits like organic webbing to make him more fortified for what's coming. This is kind of a real-world concept called epigenetics that Berg was trying to explain to me that could apply here. The idea being that we all have a lot of genes, but some of them might just be dormant and only get activated once we reach an environmental trigger. That environmental trigger could be the incoming incursions, and it could also cause triggers in other individuals who are going through a similar mutation process. Interesting shot here. Spider-Man gets scanned through this machine. I zoomed in enhanced to figure out every piece of text on this screen. Okay, on the lower left by his hand, the screen reads H-N, or enhanced human, or HEN. On the upper right by his head, the screen reads radiation detection. It seems like it's looking for gamma radiation, like what Hulk and She-Hulk have in their blood, or maybe the cosmic radiation given off by figures like Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, Kamala Khan, Wanda Maximoff. Technically, the spider that bit Peter was supposed to have some kind of radiation that resulted in his powers. On the screen close-up, we see the following. Along the top, Operator Agent Ramirez, priority elevated. In the upper right, subject designation, Vigil 9, unidentified enhanced operative, threat level, agility enhanced, non-lethal profile, last known activity, urban traversal via synthetic filament. Love it. This is just their word for thwippin'. And visual lock, acquired, confidence 92%. And then beneath that, there's a rundown of Peter's abilities and their
Superior strength,
classes,
agility,
whatever that
heightened
means.
senses,
Superior
enhanced
strength.
perception.
Beneath that, muscle fiber density, 12,500
So who could he
PSI
be
tensile
getting
strength,
scanned
which
by?
is a lot. And I don't think that's talking about
I was
his
gonna
weapon,
say
that's talking
Bruce
about
Banner,
just,
but
like,
he-
his muscles.
I feel like he wouldn't do all
Enhanced
this
class
shit.
B, superior agility, neural response time, 0.02 seconds, reflexive overdrive class
Dang,
C,
0.02
and then under heightened
seconds?
senses, you can see ocular enhancement, 360-degree peripheral awareness, augmented class A, and then under
Wait,
enhanced
wait. He can see 360 degrees, like through his peripherals? That's ridiculous.
perception, ocular enhancement, and then something else, peripheral awareness, and then also augmented class A. And at the bottom of the screen, it reads device model neurooptics. So two things this could be. One, it could be a scanner invented by Bruce Banner, a Banner scanner, using
feel
the
like
kind
it
of
wouldn't
gamma
be.
radiation reading tech that he used in the 2012 Avengers film, now being used to identify enhanced individuals in an academic setting at Empire State University. Or, what I think it really is, a mutant scanner used by the TDC, or whatever authority organization Tremel Tillman's character represents in this
You
movie. Agent
mutie.
Ramirez suggests that it's not academic tech, but a piece of
what I'm
government
saying.
tech. And it labels Peter as not a mutant, but enhanced,
Enhanced
which was
operative.
the same code word for mutant that Marvel Studios had to use in 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron. I think Peter might be detained here, or is allowing himself to get scanned to operate in some transparency with this government authority to try to show them that he is an ally. All of these abilities are things that Peter has had since he became Spider-Man. Not shown here are any of the freaky new traits that he's developing in this movie. Then in a lecture hall, Peter approaches Bruce Banner, Banner! Yes, Mark Ruffalo is appearing in this film, last seen in 2022's She-Hulk series. Some were asking about the piece of tech he's wearing on his hand, and yep, I guess you guys didn't watch She-Hulk or remember the Shang-Chi post-credit scene. Bruce wears this on his arm to inhibit his gamma-irradiated blood in order to keep him in this human form instead of his smart Hulk form. The device got ruptured in the car crash in the She-Hulk episode, the one that led to his cousin Jennifer getting her powers, but Bruce has apparently repaired it. Peter wears an ESU sweatshirt. This is for Empire State University, the fictional Manhattan Ivy League college that
Man, if he's broke, how is he going to ESU? ESU. Maybe he's getting some sort of, money on the side from being Spider-Man. I don't know. Because what do you mean you're going to ESU, Empire State University in New York, and it's an Ivy League level school? Come on, bro. The Avengers got to be breaking him off a little bit something, or he got to have a what's the word? Scholarship. He got to have a scholarship or some shit. The hell? Play.
Parker attends in the comics, and it's where he meets Gwen Stacy. Peter not getting into MIT, but getting into Empire State, hey, not a bad trade-off for someone who just got his GED. But for Peter, Bruce Banner represents a former co-Avenger that he last saw at Tony Stark's funeral and fought alongside in the Battle of Earth. Dr. Bruce Banner's face was also in a photo hanging in his Midtown High School classroom wall. But of course, Bruce Banner in this form does not remember Peter due to the memory wipe spell. On the screen behind Bruce, a large green-colored screen, you can see Banner was lecturing about something called lattice quantum chronodynamics, or lattice QCD. So QCD refers to the theory in physics that describes a strong nuclear force that binds quarks together to form the protons and neutrons, really holds together the nuclei of atoms. Since this force is difficult to
care about that shit.
1974,
Tell me about the superheroes.
Devised lattice QCD, which involves using supercomputer simulations to map the universe onto a four-dimensional grid where the charges of quarks and gluons that hold the quarks together are designated by colors.
Bro, my brain
I assume
hurts,
you got none of
man.
that. But maybe Banner is trying to study ways to invert the gamma radiation in his blood. I don't think it's gonna work. I think either the physical adaptations affecting all the enhanced people in this movie, or maybe Sadie Sink's character burrowing into Bruce's subconscious is gonna reactivate the green Savage Hulk form once more.
Bro, I want to see the Savage Hulk form, bro.
Like Gray Hulk. We see
Gray, I would like to see Joe Fixit, bro.
To freak out more than they should.
Man, Joe Fixit is tough, bro. Don't sleep on Joe Fixit. The mob boss Gray Hulk, bro. He's swaggy. Hold on, let's look him up.
I'm reminded of Tobey Maguire.
Hold on. Not JT, relax, JT. Joe Fixit. Bro, look at him, bro. The pinstripe suit. With he's holding a nigga as his accessory. He got the pinstripe suit with the fedora, with the I'm not even sure what type of shoes these are called. And he got the drink in his other hand, and he already threw someone in the pool. They already swimming with the fishies back there, bro. And we got the Marvel Rivals skin, the pinstripe, but he's got the three-piece suit pinstripe without the jacket. So he got the jacket off. He got the overall the what are these called, suspenders? You feel me? The shirt rolled up. He got the pink tie. I mean, look at him, bro. He's clean, bro. He's clean. The pink, bro. He loves the pinstripe, bro. The pinstripe is clean. Look at him. He got bulletproof suits, and he got the white gloves. He not gonna get his hands dirty. You feel me? Like Joe Fixit is too clean. He's too clean, bro. Can't even lie, bro. I want to see Joe Fixit, bro. I want to see Joe Fixit in the movie.
Maguire Peter Parker's spidey sense in the 2002 film, hyper-focusing on a spitball and a fly when Flash was about to punch him. Again, all the connections we're seeing to Tobey and Andrew, I think is just the arachno frequency echoing in his mind as his body is adapting to catch up to those two brothers. We see Peter in his apartment with all of his equipment reacting to his organic webbing, covering every surface. This is probably after he woke up outside. Then Bruce Banner drops the big M word here. If your DNA is mutating. There it is!
Boom, you looking for this?
You don't put mutate in a Marvel trailer without knowing what you're doing. Marvel Studios used to not even be legally allowed to say that word or any of its derivations 10 years ago when Disney made the deal with Fox over how to feature Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. The Avengers movies were prohibited from using the word mutant or mutate in any context like this. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. Disney owns Fox. But for Bruce Banner to describe Peter's changes with the word mutate suggests that this movie is going to start using the mutant nomenclature. They're planting the seeds for the mutant saga that's going to come after Secret Wars. Now, Peter Parker is not categorically a mutant in Marvel Comics. The term mutate has been used to describe characters like him and Deadpool, in that they started as normal humans who then got mutated by some external means. They were not born with X genes. But Peter Parker has long been associated with other mutant characters as an enhanced superhero that he's often just grouped with them nonetheless. In House of
Bro, Peter Parker being cool with Peter Parker is literally that guy in school where just everyone knows them and they just fuck with him because he's cool with the Avengers. He's cool with the X-Men. He's cool with the Fantastic Four. He's cool with probably the West Coast Avengers too, bro. He's probably cool with the Inhumans too, bro. Like, everybody messes with Peter Parker. And that's because he's the GOAT, bro. Peter Parker's a GOAT. It's simple as that. Like there's nothing else to say. And why are we so posted up and so clean, bro? Hold on. Got Iron Man in the front, helmet off, just chilling. Spider-Man, bro. And look at my GOAT, just swaggy, bro. Just swaggy. Y'all can't see, but this She-Hulk serving face in the back. My man Falcon also serving face. I don't know who this is, but he's clean. He's clean. The way he's sitting on the chair, Professor X, he's chilling. I don't know why his chair looks mad bulky today, but there's that. Damn, what is his name? Miss Doctor Strange chilling. Who is this supposed to be? Is this supposed to be Cyclops? I'm not sure, but I ain't gonna lie. I don't know who this is. Is Miss Marvel, I think. She looked clean though. She looked clean. She serving. She's serving just like these. You feel me? High ass pockets though. And then Wasp in the back, and then Captain America doing the hey kids, the hey kid fucking pose, bro. But
for example, Peter joined the mutants in the upper class society of the mutant-dominated reality that Wanda Maximoff created. So Bruce Banner telling us that something is causing Peter Parker to mutate further just cannot be ignored. And I think the implication is that those same environmental factors are also triggering the DNA in dormant mutants of this world. It's all connected. Now, before we move on, we see one shot of Peter on a rooftop webbing off screen and slingshotting himself. This is one shot where he really does not have visible web shooters. I don't even see bumps. Those webs are coming out of his wrists, folks. Here, Peter visits the grave of Aunt May.
I always wondered, like, with the organic webs, like, he still has like a sleeve though. Like, does it shoot with so much velocity? Like, he's got I guess he leaves a little hole, but like that shit probably gets messy though still, because like it still got to shoot out the fabric. Like, it still got to touch the fabric. They're like, how big is the hole? Because we don't see the hole. So I mean, like, does it just shoot with so much velocity that it doesn't really matter? You feel me?
The same grave that Happy Hogan visited together in one of the final scenes of Spider-Man No Way Home. Similar to the shot in that scene, the flowers cover May's birth year, leaving only 2024 visible as her death year, because that's when Spider-Man No Way Home took place. In that film, that was kind of a callback to Tony Stark in Civil War, finding Aunt May surprisingly attractive and kind of hard to place an age on. But here behind the wilted flowers, it does kind of look like the birth year is 1964, which, not to be impolite to the wonderful Marissa Tomei, but her birth year was 1964.
80.
Over this section, we hear
Marissa Tomei, hold on, how old is that? How old is that, bro? Marissa Tomei. How old is Marissa Tomei? Age. She's 60? Okay, all right. She look good. She look good for 60. I mean, she look good in general, but 60, golly.
Cycles. When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats. And for those spiders who make it through, it amounts to a kind of rebirth. This sounds like Keith David to me. Keith David interestingly voiced Tombstone in the Spectacular Spider-Man series, but in this movie, we're hearing that Marvin Jones III is going to be playing a version of Tombstone.
Yeah, I did see that.
Either way, I think this Keith David sounding dude is narrating a nature documentary. While I know a lot of us cannot help but hear this as Keith David's voice, Marvin Jones III, who is playing Lonnie Lincoln Tombstone in this movie, has a very similar register. Take a listen to our friends from the Breakfast Club.
But again, we're just starting. Right. This is a black family. These are black stories and black experiences,
When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable.
Nah, it's not him, bro. It's definitely
the closed captioning of this trailer calls whoever the speaker is narrator.
Is that
also,
his name?
did you notice this little audio glitch on the phrase vulnerable to threats?
Vulnerable to threats.
Now, I'm sorry to do this, but if you've ever taken any biology or entomology class or just been to a freaking zoo, no, spiders do not have 3 life cycles. They are not insects. They are another division of invertebrates known as arthropods. They only have 2 segments, and they don't have larval, pupal, and adult stages the way insects do. You can't say that like egg and then baby spider and big spider are 3 stages. No, spiders hatch out of eggs looking like small versions of their adult bodies, and they just molt as they get larger, like other arthropods do. Similarly, crabs and lobsters do not have 3 life cycles. Also, you would not call them 3 life cycles, you'd call them stages. And B, spiders do not gestate in web cocoons.
Bro, what's up with how people be killing lobsters and crabs, bro? People do not have any like sympathy for them animals at all, bro. boil them shits alive. They're like, oh, it's better for the taste. No, it's not, gang. Just kill them normally, bro. Like, that should be pissing me off.
Moths and caterpillars.
And I'm not even like
So
someone
is
that
this
cares that
narrator
much about that
stupid?
shit.
Are the screenwriters biting off more they can chew? Maybe. Or maybe Keith David or whoever this is not actually referring to life science here. It could be some voice of some Web of Life and Destiny figure who's only referring to Spider-Man variants connected to this arachno frequency. And this is not the language of scientists we're hearing here, but rather someone referring to only the cosmic biorhythms of Peter and his variants. Or could it just be Norman Osborn, who's kind of waxing poetic about how Spider-Man operate? In this section, we see a windowless containment facility that's holding the captive that I'm pretty sure is Sadie Sink's character. We see her bound to a chair in a faux office
That is a woman,
dormitory
bro.
with elevating paneling and what look like some dangerous frequency emitting devices surrounding it. In this room, you can see a bed, a desk, bookshelving, speakers, and roller skates. Now, there was one idea at some point that Sadie Sink could be playing Carly Cooper, who participates in roller derby, part of the Brand New Day era of the comics. But rather, I think this is just a facility that this young woman has been held captive within since she was a young girl. She's obviously extremely powerful, the powerful threat that was mentioned in the official synopsis. Now, the edit makes it seem like it's the clenching of her fists that causes this explosion outside, but I think that's just a trailer editing. Still, I do think this is the outside of the same facility that she's inside of. It's definitely maximum security based on the reinforced bars in the building to the right, the armored vehicle beneath that wall on the right, and some armed soldiers to the left. We also see some medical personnel,
Yeah, some
like
doctors
someone in
and shit.
medical scrubs and someone else in a white lab coat. Also, someone in a hazmat suit. Yeah, this is some shady government research facility where they do human testing. I'm thinking some East Coast DODC or some other anti-mutant agency led up by Tremel Tillman's character. This is where I think Spider-Man allowed to get scanned and where Sadie Sink's character is being imprisoned. But now this explosion
who is she
tears
gonna
a
be,
huge
though?
hole through the wall. I think the tank drove through it. Well, I think what happened is Sadie Sink's character's abilities allowed her to hop her consciousness into other bodies, take possession of those bodies, and lily pad person to person until someone she could puppet was able to hijack this armored tank and smash it into this facility. I think the tank that Peter and Frank were chasing was her consciousness puppeting a human to bring that tank to this location, crash into it, and allow her physical body to escape. I'm guessing with the help of Frank Castle, because it's clearly inside of this facility where the tank has crashed when Peter opens the hatch, where now we see the consciousness jumping out. It hops from this sweet older lady to one of the armed soldiers, then up to the higher level to this dude. And I love how this shot uses red lights in frame to draw our eye to each body that the consciousness is hopping to. Like with the soldier to the right, we see a red light on the scope, and then as we go up, there's a red light on the higher level by the door. Also, I don't know what to make to this, but when the consciousness is shifting from the woman to the soldier, there is someone running behind these soldiers who might have been part of that chain, or might just be someone else fleeing from this facility. But here we see Tremel Tillman's character in his office talking to Spider-Man, calling this threat something, quote, we can't even see. The closed captioning names his character as Bill. Now, there are some rumors that his character would be William Metzger, or Bill Metzger, who in the Marvel Comics is a lesser-known anti-mutant activist who runs a propaganda publication. Personally, I think that that's really a production.
Bro, I can't even lie, bro. Like, mutants are better than humans, bro. Like, if we're being real, like you can't deny, like, being like mutants are superior. They're stronger. They have powers. I mean, other than them having a power, they are just humans. Like, they're not really a new species, but like they kind of are. You feel me? And like, but it matters which power you get. Like, you can either be a storm goddess or a guy that, you know, can flip his I don't know, can fucking flip his eyelids in and out on command or some bullshit like that.
Code name for the character's real name, Bill Stryker. Yeah.
Oh, Bill
I
Stryker.
think Tremel Tillman's gonna be the MCU's William Stryker, the human government's authority who's hunting and detaining mutants like Sadie Sink's character. Then we see this figure in a green coat and a hood raising their
Is that
arms in
supposed to be
Peter's
her?
apartment. Yeah, that's all of his same stuff in the shot of the organic webbing everywhere earlier. Hey, and by the way, one of our commenters on our Tuesday live stream wondered if that orange shirt hanging on the right could be the shirt that Peter wore in the Netherlands when Happy Hogan found him in Far From Home.
Tell me something only you would know.
Yeah, remember we went to Germany? You pay-per-viewed a video in your room? They didn't list the titles, but I could tell by the price it was an adult film at the front desk.
But we know this hooded figure is definitely Sadie Sink. How do we know that? Well, in some set photos, like one shared by Unboxed PhD, Sadie Sink was seen wearing the same outfit, a heavily green jacket and a similar jumpsuit with a specific hoodie underneath it. Specifically, we also saw yellowish cargo pants and boots, and we see those same boots in the containment cell where she's locked up on the left of it. At this point, most of us believe that Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey in this movie. I know there are other possibilities, characters with more of an established.
I just don't know. Like, why would we introduce her in a spider? Bro, what the hell? it's just like we're introducing Jean Grey in a Spider-Man like movie, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't really matter where she's introduced, and this is one of the new, like, we kind of need to introduce her now because I'm pretty sure she's gonna be in Secret Wars or Doomsday. She's gonna be in Doomsday. But like, it's like, I get it though. This is a good place to introduce her because she's gonna be in Doomsday in some sort of capacity. And like, you know, psychic. I don't know, but has Jean Grey ever been able to literally just take people over like that? Like, I know she can like just jump into your mind and do shit, but like just completely taking you over.
Relationship with Peter Parker in the history of Marvel media. But here's the deal, folks. Sadie Sink has also been confirmed to return as her character in Avengers Secret Wars. So she must be playing someone really important to the future of the Marvel franchise. Is Marvel Studios gonna bring Typhoid Mary into Secret Wars?
The fuck is that?
And looking at this trailer, there are just only so many well-known Marvel A-listers with this specific kind of power set. The power to shift one's consciousness into others and take possession of their bodies. That kind of mind control represents advanced level, arguably Omega level psionic abilities that we've only seen from people like Charles Xavier, Jean Grey, and I suppose others like Shadow King Amal Farouk. And very
What
few
the hell is
enhanced
that?
folks have telekinetic powers so explosive that they would need to be kept in a cell like this. And yes, Jean Grey's powers are ones that you cannot always see. The cosmic Phoenix force that empowers Jean, especially at a younger age, doesn't always manifest on the visual spectrum. In another video, I did my best to rationalize why Marvel Studios would introduce a foundational mutant like Jean Grey right now. I get it, it's a big, kind of weird move. Why would they do it in this movie before everything gets blown up in Doomsday and Secret Wars, when Jean Grey would need to be on the same footing as other new incoming mutants like Scott Summers, Hank McCoy, or Aurora Monroe in the X-Men film that's probably going to come in 2028? Well, in that video, I did come up what I think is a solid explanation for how it might actually be the smartest move to introduce Jean right now, so that they can overpower her into the Phoenix in Secret Wars, deplete that star power in that movie, and then revert her to her better Marvel Girl Jean form for X-Men, so that they could leave the Phoenix as part of her blacked out forgotten past and avoid having to drag Sadie Sink through the same Dark Phoenix saga storyline that Fox made the mistake of doing twice with Famke Janssen and Sophie Turner. So by applying the epigenetics theory, Jean Grey could be the mutant zero of the 616 universe, someone who's been confined by the government for several years if she was a little girl with roller skates in that cell, who, due to her unique Phoenix Force link, had her dormant X gene awoken early by the incoming incursions to mutate and prepare her for the coming conflict, and Jean's awakening could trigger the mutations in others in this reality, including the physiological changes in Peter Parker, and maybe a reversion to Savage Hulk for Bruce Banner, or the emergence of the Grey Hulk. Let me know your thoughts on this theory in the comments below, but let's move on. Okay, here we see Peter battling with other villains who are a part of the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery. First, Michael Mando returns from Spider-Man Homecoming as Matt Gargan Scorpion, whom Peter busted in an arms deal on the Staten Island ferry, getting him arrested and sent to Rikers, where he told Adrian Toomes he was gonna stuff Spider-Man's severed head in a dryer. Now he has a fully mechanized Scorpion.
Bro, I would really like to see Venom Scorpion in this universe, because I do want to see regular Venom, but I do want to see Scorpion Venom too. And I'm not sure, I feel like, can we do Agent Venom and have a Scorpion Venom at the same? I feel like we can do it, or we could do Agent Anti-Venom. That would be tough, and then also have just regular Scorpion Venom. That would be too. I would like that. I would fuck with that.
And he uses that. Rockstars is doing another live show on April 17th.
It's Morbid time. I love to see it. I love to see it. It's Morbid time. I'm morbid.
Morbius from 2022. But you don't have to live in LA to watch it. There's a nifty online portal where you can watch the show wherever you live.
No, I'm not watching that shit.
But notice how Max says here,
stay out of my way.
Yeah, he says stay out of my way. At least that's what we hear. But if you look closely, Michael Mando is saying something else. Often trailers, especially Sony trailers, like to do stuff like this. So how did Mac get out of prison? Who hooked him up with this cool gear? Someone must be bankrolling him. Now, it could be Kingpin, though unfortunately, legally, Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk cannot appear in this movie. It could be Val and her Ox Group resources, which are going to show up in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. It could be Lonnie Lincoln Tombstone, who is probably going to be played by Marvin Jones.
Bro, they gotta make Tombstone like actually like a mob boss, like someone to threaten Kingpin. Cause I don't really fuck with the whole he's just a muscle. Because like the way they did him in the Spider-Man games was good, bro. He was his own boss. He was doing his own shit. But y'all got Tobias Harris, bro, or Tobias Whale, bro. This motherfucker Tobias Whale is different. He's different. And you got his actor to play Tombstone. If you haven't seen the Black Lightning show, you're missing out, bro. This guy's a demon, bro.
This movie,
he can do some damage if you write him good. If you write him good.
Someone else could have raided the DODC storage and all the hardware from Stark and Adrian Toomes that the DODC confiscated over the years. Also, hey, it could be the tech of Oscorp and Norman Osborn. I kept obsessing over that neon green overhang in the background of this Scorpion shot. It says like something LEY building, doesn't say Oscorp building. But I really love this next shot of Peter rolling in some sticky webbing and sliding across the rooftop and getting a bunch of birds stuck to him. Then a quick shot of Frank Castle saying, "You're losing it, kid." Maybe the reason Frank is protecting / helping Sadie Sink if she is Jean Grey is that maybe Jean can use her telepathic abilities to silence the voice of Frank's ghost kids in his mind. Then we see Peter and MJ standing face to face with the towers of Central Park West in the background. Peter's masked up here. Of course, MJ does not remember who Peter is, but she does have some vague memories of interacting with Spider-Man. So maybe being masked here is just one way Peter can still connect with her. Then the shot of Peter while trying to stop or redirect the tank webs a pole to use the centrifugal force to turn the tank down a street leading to Battery Park. And
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, like how does that work? Because they forgot they forgot Peter Parker, but they still like realize, yo, we used to fuck with Spider-Man though. We have a connection to Spider-Man. We just don't know how, and that's maybe why they're trying to figure out who he is in the beginning, in the earlier of the trailer. So
Island Ferry, but this flings him against a bus where, sitting in a seat,
damn,
wearing a New York Jets shirt, is this extra that many online are now claiming to be Rogue. Yes, the energy-sapping mutant Rogue. I don't know, guys. I guess they're just saying that from the hair. I would love an appearance by Rogue in this movie, and hey, if Jean Grey is gonna be in this movie, why not Rogue? But hey, this would not be how they would introduce Rogue, not in a trailer like this. Rogue would never be a Jets fan, and no offense to this extra, I just think they would cast a bigger name. Then we get 3 slow motion splash page shots that seem like they're going to be part of either an Act 1 montage showing Peter's heroics or something else. First, we see this pose that Peter makes as he's rescuing the guy. It's an exact restaging of Amazing Fantasy number 15, the first ever comic appearance of Spider-Man from August 1962, where he's posed in this open-chested way to perfectly match Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko's cover art. In that first issue, this cover art isn't anything that we see Spider-Man do in his origin story. The green-suited guy is just meant to be kind of a generic thug who is retroactively named Steve as a nod to Steve Ditko. It's not Norman Osborn or Harry Osborn. Many have wondered if the overcast, hazy look of New York City here is a clue that this scene could be taking place on the same day as the final battle of the Thunderbolts film, when Sentry's void form went rogue and engulfed major parts of the city in shadow. When it did that, it temporarily exiled victims into their most shameful memories. So if Peter was part of that, maybe he would have been forced to revisit the death of Aunt May, or the death of Tony Stark, or maybe even the death of his Uncle Ben, something the MCU Spider-Man has never really revealed to us. But either way, Peter was somewhere in New York when all that happened. It was also rumored that Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova might appear in this film, and if there is a Thunderbolts connection, I'm betting it would happen here. Next, Peter leaps up with his webbing, snaking toward us as Boomerang attacks from below. Boomerang,
what the hell?
Myers was
I definitely missed that in the trailer. What the fuck is Boomerang doing here? Boomerang lame ass, get Boomerang out of here.
1966, an Australian American who got caught taking bribes that ended his baseball pitching career, and he fell into the crime organization called the Secret Empire. Then on a boat on the river, Peter dodges an attack from Tarantula.
Yo, is that cop shooting at my boy? He better not be shooting at my boy. He better be shooting at this bum. Better be shooting at Tarantula ugly ass. You better be not aiming at my goat.
Here's a direct recreation of the first appearance of Tarantula on the cover of the Amazing Spider-Man 134 in 1974 by artist Ross Andrew. Tarantula, the first of whom was named Anton Miguel Rodriguez, was a South American terrorist who ends up working for the Brand Corporation, who wears razor-clawed boots and gloves that are often tipped with toxins that render his victims unconscious. Now, rumors that reported these two characters also speculated that other low-level Spider-Man villains could also cameo, not just Tombstone, but like Rhino, Chameleon, Ramrod. No, I do not think this movie is assembling the Sinister Six, but I do have a theory as to what all of this slow motion imagery really is with these next shots. Okay, here Peter faces off against the Ninjas of the Hand. Yes, in their Frank Miller comic accurate red suits. You remember the Hand from the Daredevil series and the Netflix era and its crossover Defenders series. It's an ancient cult of ninjas that operates as a criminal organization. But I do not know why all of these characters are in this seemingly abandoned prison. And I really don't know why Peter is not wearing his mask here. But it does seem to be late in the film because the webbing Peter emits does not come from web shooters. And its tensile strength also appears to be even more powerful than what showed up on the scanner, because
broke
the
a sword,
it shatters that sword like an icicle damn. Like, I know Destin Daniel Cretton is known for some incredible Shia-inspired imagery, but doesn't this feel like it's kind of in a simulated reality? It's just also hyper-realistic and stylized than the rest of the footage. It makes me wonder if Peter's actually in some kind of Danger Room-esque training simulation for all of this, or some kind of vision that, like, Jean Grey is putting him through. Maybe some module that the DODC might have to test Peter's actual enhancements. Specifically, this shot of Peter's eyes rolling over dark. I know many think this could be the symbiote taking over his body, or some other kind of evil. Maybe it's even Jean Grey trying to get into his mind, or just his physiological changes taking over as he mutates into a multi-armed man spider. But I do think the close-up of his eyes going dark is meant to be the beginning of some kind of mental projection, simulated reality that's going to take him through these trials. Whether it's a technological one through the DODC, or something Jean Grey is putting him through, I don't think it's something he's actually experiencing. Now, if you look closely in Peter's dark eyes at this shot and enhance the image, it does kind of look like there's some mysterious red face being reflected. I just cannot make out who it is or what the context of this shot is. So this shot of Peter flying toward the hand ninjas, it seems to be using some Crouching Tiger wuxia cinematography that looks awesome. A lot of folks are also focused on the negative space of the shot to wonder if the space beneath Peter has had other Marvel heroes scrubbed out using VFX, like Hulk or Punisher or Jean Grey, or maybe that's just Daredevil flying beneath him there. Sure, I get it. I remember when the final No Way Home trailer showed a similar framing of what Sony tried to make us think was just one Peter leaping to the right and some villains outnumbering him, and in the Latin America version of the trailer, some invisible force knocked Lizard's head that we all quickly figured out was Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, just scrubbed out of the shot. And we don't want to get fooled again, but I also don't know if...
Bro, why is this happening?
Do that again in the splash shot of this trailer, but I do think there's something even more deceptive going on with the shot. Like, if it were just this shot alone, I could chalk it up to being part of the montage with Boomerang and Tarantula, those shots. But with the intense looking Peter without the mask in the prison, something more is going on here. Something that I think could just be in Peter's mind. We end with another scene from MJ and Ned's housewarming party, or maybe it's just MJ's housewarming party. I don't know if she and Ned are roommates, but we do find out that Peter's living in the same building, and you can see that MJ is still wearing that broken Black Dahlia necklace that Peter got for her in Venice and Far From Home, that she continued to wear in the final scene of No Way Home to signal her ongoing love for him. And in the background, you can see a conspiratorial research wall where apparently MJ and maybe MJ and Ned are obsessively trying to figure out who Spider-Man is. I find this very sweet. The two of them were so close with Peter before the memory wipe spell that deep down there's some nagging cosmic force that's driving them to answer that question. And I really hope it's both MJ and Ned, because Peter ultimately needs both of them. And yes, MJ makes reference to the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man nickname of the Spider-Man character that Peter definitely embraced when he was just trying to keep Queens safe in Spider-Man Homecoming. I love this trailer. I love the imagery that Destin Daniel Cretton is able to bring. I love the stunts. I love the effects. I love the acting. I love what Destin Daniel Cretton is doing with this franchise, and I love what they are depriving from us. And even if I'm overthinking it and this movie has nothing to do with mutation, it does have everything to do with mutation. They use the word evolution in the official synopsis. We hear Bruce Banner, the resident scientist of the MCU, saying mutate. They're gonna plant the seeds in this movie, and they're gonna do it in a way that both furthers Peter Parker's narrative, continues the narrative that was there in No Way Home, sets up Doomsday, and sets up the mutant saga. That's why they needed the guy who was gonna direct the 5th Avengers movie to direct this movie. Comment down below with your thoughts, and a special thanks to one of our YouTube...
Hey, bro, I love New Rockstars, man. They do great work. Eric Voss, you're good in my book, bro. But yeah, you know, shit, Spider-Man, love it all. I'm ready. I need this movie injected into my veins right now. I need it injected right here. I need it right now. But I gotta wait another however many months because July 31st can't come fast enough, man. Pause. But I really, bro, like, you don't understand, bro. Spider-Man is just... I'm just gonna be so happy when this movie comes out, bro. I need this movie, man. I'm really interested. I really hope it is Jean Grey. They might throw some bullshit and be like, oh no, this is what is Jean Grey's clone called? Oh, this is Natalie Pryor or whatever the fuck her name is. Hold on, let's check. Jean Grey's clone. Madeline Pryor. Be like, oh yeah, this is Madeline Pryor, not Jean Grey. And it's like, I mean, yeah, but like, who really? It doesn't really matter for real. And then they'll retcon it all when after Secret Wars happens. But yeah, thank you for watching. Drop down, like, subscribe, Discord's in the bio or whatever. Follow Instagram, IG, TikTok, Twitter, all that shit. Hidden Ace, everything. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time.
I really don't like copyright strikes. Copyright strikes. I really don't like copyright strikes.